So, bro, do you know what is UTMA? UTMA?
Why don't you tell me?
UTMA is Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. That means you put the money in your children's account, in a child account, one child, one
Mhm.
account per time. And by the time that child reaches 21 or 18 or 25, and depending upon the state you live in, that child will have the money. And the best thing is you cannot touch that money.
Wow.
And this is only available in America. I don't know what happens in
So is it
UK.
tax-free money?
It is kind of tax free. You cannot touch it, bro. You cannot spend it.
Okay. I mean, what I mean by tax-free is, are you paying taxes on it from your before you put it into the account,
There is
or
some
do you
sort.
get a tax cut when you put it into the account?
You are there are some benefits.
So is it like a 401k or is it like a Roth IRA? 401k, right? You don't pay taxes now. You pay taxes when you take it out. Versus a Roth pays you pay taxes now. You don't have to pay taxes later. Uh, that's what they say.
So UTMA is generally not tax free.
Mhm.
UTMA is a taxable custodial account. The investment inside can create taxes depending on what happened. For example, if it is if it's a interest income, it can be taxable. If it's a dividend, it can be taxable. If it's capital gain, it can be taxable. The child is generally the owner for tax purposes, but the special child investment tax rules, that is often known as the kiddie tax, it can apply when investment income gets high enough.
So how is it different from, let's say I just open a Vanguard account and just put the money there? Why do I have to specifically pick a UTMA account?
So, for example, if you have a 529 plan, you know what is a 529 plan?
Yeah, college fund.
Yeah. So that is education focused, and that has lots of tax advantages.
Mhm.
For example, if you have Roth IRA, that is potentially tax free growth if the rules are met.
Correct.
And if you have 401k or 401k solo, so that has the tax advantages as well.
Mhm.
But in order to have Roth IRA and 401k, you you have to have money from your W2 or 1099. And this is more like a gift.
Mm.
So the tax is pretty minimum. It is not that much. It is pretty minimum. So it is more beneficial than having a 529 plan, because 529 plan is just for education or college.
Mhm.
It does not have that sort of flexibility as Atma does. So let me give you an example. If you have $10,000 Atma invested in an index fund, taxes are often small. If it's if it reaches around 100K, you get more dividends and you get more gains. So this is more tax impact. So if your account reaches $1 million, it can be more noticeable. For example, If a Atma fund had $1 million and investment produced 2% dividends annually, that can be around $20,000 a year of dividend income before even considering growth or selling investment. So they tax on that $20,000. They don't tax on 1 million $20,000. They only tax on that $20,000. And also remember, if you buy and if you hold index funds, it creates fewer taxes than frequently trading. Okay, so um, if you sell it more often, you pay taxes, and if you make profit, so if you sell a lot of time, it can create capital gain taxes. So this is the tax situation. That means if you make money out of it, if you have lots of capital gains, how do you have capital gains? You have capital gains by selling. If you sell a lot, because if you open the Atma account, you cannot move the money out of the account. You cannot use it. But within the account, you have the full control.
Okay, so let's say I open a Vanguard account, right, and buy some VTI VO,
Mhm.
and then that is going to be compound interest.
Yeah.
It's going to grow, and then the dividends are going to accumulate.
Yeah.
And then over time, I'll have a good amount of money.
Mhm.
How is it going to be different from that? I'm not selling it, right? I'm just keeping it for, let's say, 21 years.
For example, so you're comparing a personal Vanguard account or a Vanguard type of account to Atma. If
Right.
you open a Vanguard type of account, you can take the money out when you need it. But if you open an Atma account, you cannot take the money out no matter what happens. That money
I get
belongs
it.
to your child. So even if you are in a big financial crunch or any pressure or anything, that money goes to your child. You do not get that money.
I get it. But how is that a benefit?
How is that benefit? Because the child.
What I'm trying to find out is there, do you get extra dividends? Is it tax free? What are the benefits? But what I'm hearing is the benefit is you cannot take the money out. It's sort of, how is it different from, let's say I put in money in a treasury bond or something, right, for the next 20 years or 30 years. I cannot take the money out for another 30 years.
So these are the benefits of Atma. Okay, I'm going to come to that treasury bonds once. So the first benefit is long-term compounding, right? The money can grow for years while the child is young. So starting early matters a lot. Okay. The
And what's
second
the interest rate?
interest rate is you invested, you put it in a mutual fund, you put it in a bond, you put it in stock, you can put in whatever you want to.
I get it. But what's the average interest rate?
Oh, you are saying a rate of return.
Yeah, rate of return.
Usually it's around 8 to 9%.
Okay.
The second thing is flexible use. So Atma is not just limited to college. It can help with education, business startup, or buying a home, or even investing further if the child becomes more financial savvy, and other expenses benefiting the child, buying the first car, those kind of things. So the other thing is easier than trust planning, right? If you open a trust, it's gonna cost you around like $6,000 to $7,000. You have to pay the attorney, and you have to do you have to go through a lot of legal bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is there are many investment options, as you said. You can invest in index fund, mutual funds, all those ETFs, treasury, stocks. a dividend investment. So what it means is you build a nest and you have you can put different type of things over there. That is her account. That acts just like a brokerage account. The only thing is it's like Hotel California. You can go in, but you cannot come out. And they don't have a annual contribution cap, IRA and 401k. And anyone can gift in that account. Grandparents can gift, parents can gift, relatives can gift, right? So this is what you can do. So when you are celebrating your daughter's first birthday, instead of having your friends and relatives bring her any physical gift, you can say, do not bring any gift. If you want to give anything to her, put a QR scan code and link that to her UTMA account. And the biggest downside is the money becomes the child's money and it's generally transferred at a UTMA age. A lot of state has 21, and quite a few have 25, 21, or 18. It just depends on what state you're in. So it is basically like opening a brokerage, opening an account. And from that account, you can buy the treasury bonds. From that account, you can buy a Vanguard mutual fund. From that account, you can buy stocks. From that account, you can buy Tesla stocks. From that account, you can buy bonds. Whatever the investment, whatever type of investment strategy you have, you can implement that. You have that control. So it's not just you open a regular account on Vanguard and uh, you start buying mm, uh, say a VFIX 100 or VFIX 200. So you open an Atma account, you buy VFIX 200 from there instead of, and it has all the protections. The biggest protection is the money cannot come out. And you can buy anything you want. You can buy treasury bonds, you can buy dividends, stocks, everything, anything, just a regular brokerage account. So, in a way, you can say this is a child's brokerage account with a protection factor in it. Mm. And I don't think it is possible for a child uh, to establish just a brokerage account for a child who is that small. So, what you do is you just create a Atma. In our culture, when the baby is born, or during Dasai or any sort of auspicious festivals or during sort of pujas, the child often gets a lot of money. So what I do for my child is I used to make my child put the money in the piggy bank. But then recently I realized that is not a good strategy. That is not that is not walking the path to make the child financially literate. And that is not helping the child. So what I did was um, I opened the Atma account in one of the brokerages. I don't want to name any. And then I I started to buy index funds, mutual funds, and I'm now looking into buying dividends. But I'm not trying to buy any bonds at this moment because you buy bonds to mitigate risk, but the, children are pretty young at this time, so they can take risk later. So buying, I would say buying 90% in as a index fund or 50% index fund, 20% mutual, 10% high risk, high growth stocks, 10% dividends. So you can change the investment strategy based on you can create your own investment strategy just opening a brokerage account for your child and putting money there and just letting it grow. So what were you thinking before?
Robinhood. I have a Robinhood account.
But your child doesn't have Robinhood account, right? So how do you sponsor? How do you open a Robinhood account for your child?
I don't know yet.
So
I can just have an account for myself and then will it to my kids.
when that happens, when you that transformation and that transformation, it takes a lot of money out of you.
So you want to transfer the money from yourself to the kid?
Of course, it's taxable. But if you start UTMA, UGMA, it's called a custodial account. The child owns it, but the adult or the guardian manages it until adulthood. Or that's the only way you can open a brokerage account for a child. And you can also open your bank account with a parent involvement. It's called youth saving account or youth checking account. And there's another thing that happens when a child reaches um, teenage. It's called teenage or teen brokerage account. And the other one is 529 education account. Another one is that thing is pretty expensive to set up. It's called the trust account. You can control a lot of things when you have a trust account. For example, you can say do not. You can create conditions like this. You get access to the money, the interest when you reach 25, but your income you can never touch the principal. You can only get the money. You can only get the interest. You can set off any conditions that you want. You can make it very rigid. You can say, okay, you won't have access to the trust money if you do not get a bachelor's. So the trust has that sort of flexibility. But to establish a trust, it takes a lot of money. Probably you have probably around $6,000 to $8,000. So the best bet is to open a Atma. I don't know if Robinhood offers it. I don't know. I I don't use Robinhood. There are other brokers that do offer, and you can use that, and you can buy whatever you want. You can buy index funds, you can buy mutual fund, and that thing will grow. So it is a safe bet for your child. The reason why I'm a little bit sad is because my child is a little bit older than your child. I am I'm sad because I started late. I should have done this when she was very young, but it's never too late.
Mhm.
and I'm going to put.
Wait a minute.
I'm going
At
to.
least you're thinking it through. I don't have one.
You can create it. It takes you 5 minutes to create an Atma account. It just needs to verify and just how much money has she accumulated by now with all those uh, your daughter. How much money has she accumulated by now?
I don't know.
Probably like 500, 600,000. So what I would do is put that money in your bank account and transfer that money to her Atma, and you start investing from there. Do not trade it often. Buy index funds. Talking about the treasury bills, when when I would spend on treasury bills, when I have a lot of money and I need time to think, so I would put that money on 6 months, 3 months, 1 year treasury bill because it beats inflation. It gives around 4%, 4% interest. So inflation is around 2 or 3%, and it beats inflation. And you can think, you can plan what to do with your money. If I had money at this moment, what I would do is I would invest on some mutual funds, some index funds, some dividends, and I would also put some on bonds, probably around 20, 30% on bonds, maybe 20% in bonds and bonds and treasuries. And rest, I would just put on index funds and mutual funds. And 20, 30% I would put on very high risk growth stocks. What destroyed me earlier in life? Putting in penny stocks. I don't know if you did that, bro. Did you do it?
No. But
I did it. I did it. I did it. I lost so much money over there.
this high risk stocks, so you put 60% in high risk
Uh huh.
and then maybe 10% on bonds and 25% on just regular domestic stocks.
Yeah. Yeah. But with your daughter, with your daughter's broker's account, you have the privilege of being more aggressive. So you can put everything on a growth account with that.
Yeah. You could just put S&P 500 and Dow, and that should be good enough.
Yeah, you put this every. You start putting your money in even just in S&P 500. By the time she's 21, 22, say you put around 1,200 a year. Like by the time she's 21, 22, she's gonna have probably hundreds of thousands of dollars because compounding rate is beautiful.
Mm. At least 8%.
Yeah. So having Atma is the most important thing at this moment. You open a brokerage account for your child and you can do whatever you want from there. You can buy whatever you want from there. And it has a legal exception.
Create the account, just let my child handle it, man.
You can
Teach her
just,
how to,
yeah, you can, don't
teach her how to deal with the stocks. Do whatever you want with it.
So there is a,
But she's not going to get the money until she's 21.
yeah, there's this thing called teen brokerage account. There's what you said, there's a similar concept, but your child has to reach, uh, she has to be 13 or 14 or 15, somewhere around that age. It just depends upon the firm. Some firms, from some brokerage firms, will allow it in the earlier age, some will allow it later. Some will say, okay, you have to be over 16. Some will say, well, you can do it when you're 15. So it just depends on, for the child controlling the account, it just depends on that time. So at this moment, the best thing would be investing on Atma, so that your child will have a lot of money when she grows up. She's going to be, and the other thing I want to focus on is introducing financial literacy to children when they are pretty young. Introducing them the concept of saving, investing, uh, insurance, whole life insurance, all those kind of things.
How do you do that?
You just, when the child comes to the age, you just make the child, your daughter is pretty young. By the time she is a little bit old, just introduce the terms to her. Teach her what is a stock. She- just introduce the vocabulary. I think that is going to help. That is going to help.
Yeah. Our first book is going to be Wealth of Nations.
Wealth of Nations. What is the Wealth of Nation? The book. I wouldn't go that far, that deep. She doesn't need to be Warren Buffett. Wow, she needs to be. Give me 1 second. So opening an Atma. This is what I want to focus on. Open Atma. Open Atma. Anyone who is listening to me, if you have a child, a small child or a teenage child, open Atma. Make them financially literate. Introduce them to the words, even if they don't understand it. The children now are smart enough to Google it, to chat GPT it, to understand it. But especially in America, in the US, there is a way. They have created Atma, and there is no limit. The grab Anyone can transfer it to the Atma. So whenever you are organizing a birthday, have the QR code, make them design it in such a way that the money goes to the child's account, and then keep on investing. Uh, you don't have to trade it every day. You don't have to trade it every day, but you have to. But you can invest it. You can invest the money. eh, Say, let's buy. Say, for example, you buy S&P ETF or S&P index fund or something very similar. So once a month, put $100 in that account and just buy that. Sometimes it's going to go down, sometimes it's going to go up, but most of the time it's going to go up. That is the beauty of compound interest. 529 account is mostly for education focused. That is also needed, that is also required. Mm. But what I would say is get that as well, but focus more on Atma. Who knows, after 20 years, college education may be obsolete. And if you make a lot of money, if you have a lot of money, just create a trust account. You can even create a trust account because I know that you own several properties. You can just create a trust account and put those, have that trust own those properties. Say, for example, if anything happens to you, right? If you pass away, so what's going to happen is in America there is this thing called death tax. You even pay